Hi, welcome to the Coach Parenting Program. I'm Nivedita Singh, a practicing counselor and psychotherapist, trained under Dr. David Burns at Stanford and the Albert Ellis Institute in New York. With more than 30 years of counseling experience, I have trained thousands of parents on how to handle their children. So let's begin. Through our Parenting with Coach videos, I'm going to show you 10 techniques that will take a minute or less to turn your child's attitude around. I know what you must be thinking, that it sounds too good to be true to manage this in a minute. And I can understand that. If your child has been difficult and hostile and disrespectful, you probably feel so powerless around this kid that you can't think of anything that can change his or her behavior, especially in a minute or less. Well, the good news is that you can. The techniques I will show you today are quick, simple interventions that really work. A quick clarification before we start. The techniques are gender neutral and applies to both genders. For the sake of convenience, however, we might be using one gender or the other in our examples. Technique number 1, take charge. As a parent, it's important for you to project an image of being self-confident and in charge without being hostile. The mistake we often make when wanting our kids to comply with our wishes is that we begin to beg and plead. Instead of pleading and convincing and begging, the kind of information I want you to give to your kids when you're taking control is simple directions. For example, if your kid is supposed to be in his room doing his homework and he's in the TV room watching TV, the question for you to ask is, where are you supposed to be? And if he says, in my room, then your response should be, go there. Not, why aren't you there already? What are you doing here? Why don't you ever listen? Etc., etc. Instead, where are you supposed to be? Go there. What are you supposed to be doing right now? Do it. There are two common mistakes we make here. The first is to ask our kids for explanations. We ask them why. क्यों? यहाँ क्यों हो? यहाँ क्यों? ये क्यों किया? When we ask kids why and when they tell us, we say that sounds like an excuse. So don't ask kids for excuse. Just remember, do not ask those why questions. If you don't ask kids for excuses, there is a good chance that you won't get any excuses. And the second mistake we make is that we justify and explain ourselves. We tell them that we are, pushing or scolding them for their own good, that, we really love them and that's why we are harsh and firm with them. Sure, please love them and do not be harsh. But then remember, it's very, very important to be firm. What shapes a child's attitude is his or her perceptions and expectations. And this is very important for you as a parent to understand. So the kid has certain perceptions of you that's been formed over years and certain expectations from you and from himself. When you tell your child, I want you to sit down and do your homework now, what you're starting to do is affecting his expectations of who is in charge, who's in control. And if you sound like you're in control and you're the parent, you're on your way to being in control. Part of the thing here is that our kids train us. Acting out kids train us to talk to them in a tiptoe around me way. Acting out kids train their parents to give in to them. Acting out kids train their parents to be afraid of them and so train their parents not to take charge and not to do direct statements. Because the perception of the kid is that he's in control and he's entitled to things without really working towards them. And also, he has preconceived expectations of how things are going to go. His expectations are that I'm going to get my way. It's going to go my way. Now, when a parent takes charge, what it says to the child is, I'm in control now. And remember, your posture has to begin the change process. You can't be all casual and, dhila dhala and, your tone of voice should be firm but loving. And your eye contact should be steady. Please don't glare. So the change starts with the parent and then goes on to the child. This takes less than a minute, and you can use these techniques, all 10 of them, in conjunction with each other, and over time people change. So just change your tone to a frank, business-like tone and tell the child what he's supposed to be doing, and then turn around and continue with whatever you're doing. Technique number 2, disengage. Now this means to cut off communication once the child becomes disrespectful, rude or abusive. Starts using language which is unacceptable. Give a direction or an instruction. Tell the child exactly how you want them to behave and then walk away. Disconnect, disengage. So if you want your child to do A, B or C and the child drags his feet or refuses to say something or says something rude, you have to use 2 sentences. Don't speak to me that way. I don't like it. And then turn around and disengage or walk away. Don't say things like, you dare say that again and you'll see. Or, I will not stand for you speaking to me like that. Or, you say that one more time and I'll never speak to you again. All these things are futile. If you dare the child, he will definitely take you up on your dare, just to prove you wrong. That's what being a kid is all about. And he will prove to you that you can and will stand it. And that I'll never speak to you again is a bluff that the child can call you out on anytime. So just say, don't speak to me that way. I don't like it. Now this is a sentence that has to become one of your standard sentences. So let's examine the mistake we tend to make here. The mistake we make is standing around there and asking for explanations about why the child behaved that way. This, just remember, is handing power over to the child. Because the moment you ask for explanations, the power shifts to the child, and the next thing you will hear is how unfair and demanding you are as a parent, and how no other parent is as mean as you are. The problem lies with the parent not disengaging and not wanting to finish saying what they want to say, which is often quite a lot that you want to say. Somewhere as a parent, parents have a lurking hope that the child will understand and say, okay, I get it now. Next time I will not do this and I will work twice as hard and get good grades. This is not going to happen, parents. Or something like, oh wow, now I understand, I'll go and immediately clean my room. This is not going to happen either. The more you ask and over-explain, the more the child gets in control. So just disconnect. Just remember to disengage and let the child feel the discomfort. When you over-explain, you are owning some of the problem. Come on, it's like your child is 15 years old and you haven't explained well enough how important it is for him to do his homework. Of course you have. Parents want to be liked by their kids. And there's a difference between being loved by your kids and being liked by your kids. Parents want to be their kids' friends. Well, that's a great concept when your kid is 2 and doesn't have friends. But once the kid starts misbehaving, then that posture of, I want to be your friend is not effective anymore. So set the limit through taking charge, give instructions, and remember to disengage. You must try these 2 techniques of taking charge and disengaging, which as promised will take less than a minute each. In our next video, we will give you the remaining tips and techniques. You can share your views in the comment section below. Thank you.